Suhail, for the introduction. Okay, I'm excited to talk to you all. I'd like to ask you first, have you ever made or reviewed a change and it triggered some kind of surprising outage, something unexpected? Kind of expect every hand to go up. Many. I know I have. I'll share some background of human-computer interaction, so that's a big passion of mine, and my own journey of understanding and seeking clarity on systems I've worked on. I think some of these techniques I've learned, they aren't my own, they're things I've picked up along the way. Some of them I've worked on have made me a better engineer and helped those around me as well. So I hope you can learn something. Okay, so think of a complex system, anyone you like. I'm going to claim, maybe it's controversial here, that complexity is not the problem. At least complexity, where it's multiple components, so given outcomes of a change, might be multi-causal between components interacting. It's, can you simplify it such that it's no longer complex? I think that's the question here. Is complexity is uncomfortable, but some of it is necessary. Some of the systems we work on are just so complex. They're so big to deliver the features and functionality we want for our product. There's a level of necessary complexity. And that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to simplify what we can, but it does mean that we have an intended goal to achieve, but are faced with confusion and ambiguity. And when we can't know the outcome of our planned action, that can really hold us back. We need to address this ambiguity. There are limits on how much we can simplify, and we don't even fully understand the thing to begin with. We need to turn our focus to clarity. So clarity is something I'll come to a lot in this talk. I think it leads to success in our interactions with complex systems. It's the key to understanding them and to ultimately simplifying what we can. For studying human interactions with production or a complex system, a good framework I found is from HCI, Human-Computer Interaction, and Dan Norman's book, The Design of Everyday Things. So there's this execution evaluation cycle that defines two phases. The first is execution. So this is one in which the actor, let's say ourselves, engineers, we establish the goal, form our intention, specify the actions we're going to take, and execute them. Then comes the evaluation phase. In this one, we perceive the system state. We have to interpret it. Did the right thing happen or not? And evaluate it with respect to our goals and intentions. And if necessary, revise it. So I think, for me at least, this sums up a lot of what I do in my everyday. And we want more changes with fewer errors. We want to be able to know early when something unexpected happens. Another important concept is from Alan Cooper in the Essentials of Interaction Design. Here, he outlines three models. So one is the implementation or design model. This is what the designer or engineer has in their intent of what to build, the code. Then there's the manifest or system model. And this is what's actually represented and live when the system or change is placed within the larger complex system as a whole. Here's where the unintended consequence can maybe happen. Then there's the mental or conceptual model. This is like kind of what we have, the users of production trying to do these changes that we build. We build them through our interactions with the manifest system. So how we learn is by interacting with the systems. And I claimed in this talk, we'll understand our systems without simplifying them. I also said clarity is very important. So here's where we want to focus on putting the clarity. We want the observability and the interactions between the user and the system to make our lives very easy so we can interpret the state and quickly build an accurate mental model of what's represented in the system today. Okay, so a little personal aside here. I think bringing clarity to our understanding of systems is fun and rewarding challenge. Throughout my 12 years at Google, I've worked on about 8 different complex systems in cloud, ads, monitoring, and workspace. I've experienced mostly not typical serving jobs with data processing systems, production tools, multi-tenant platforms. And I have 4 kids. I've been on 4 maternity leaves, so handing off and ramping back up is something I'm very familiar with. I've become accustomed and learned to love the periods of confusion and ambiguity. I heard some laughter. Do people here like ambiguity? Okay, it's like our job, right? But it's such a kindness I've experienced when a coworker shows me a diagram or a dashboard that gives me an aha moment of clarity. My mental model of the system is improved. I can see how my changes took effect, or I know what to do. And I want to pay this forward. And maybe this is where my love of dashboards and system diagrams began. Here's one I love. A good system overview diagram can help you understand your change in the context of the system as a whole. Spanning multiple components, inputs, and outputs, you can zoom in or zoom out. Each of these nodes can have links to further dashboards or one-pager overviews. You can mark when one is in a migration or planned for turndown, or put one that's not launched yet but is coming. This can be helpful when maybe a different team supports each subcomponent. Documentation across all of them might take prohibitively long to parse. Well, maybe AI can help, but or be out of date. The next, I would say, is this nested multi-layered navigation that matches the architecture of your service. So on one side is kind of a rough architecture of some, I don't know, fake service. And this dashboard shows aligned with the mental model of the system. So this can be a very simplified view, right? So it's not the one I showed previously, but then on the left-hand navigation of your dashboard, you can have broad aggregated overviews down to specific production-related ones of just what's useful to see for each of those components. So this helps, I want to see what's wrong with my prober, I want to do the back end, or like, what's the database that was wrong? You can quickly get there. So I've seen this model work with many kinds of dashboards on teams, so I wanted to share it. So within a dashboard, some of the most lovely ones I've seen are action-oriented with a specific set of curated graphs and text and links. So here embedded everything you need to accomplish an important or a specific task. Think of an action like when you're getting more quota, when you just pushed a dynamic config, you want to know if everything's broken. These are the graphs you want to see. You can see at a glance, critical time series, and determine if your change had the expected result at that level. Sequence diagrams, I love these. They're simple diagrams that allow you kind of in one summarized page to see the critical interaction, a process as a series of interactions between the different entities, your dependencies, and your clients. And you can have links to even say where the code is at each step along the way. No more hunting down information from various sources. Let's have a single page with links to everything that can be useful. Carrying context of where are my rollouts, where are the general details, the monitoring, the dependencies in our heads, I think just makes it more stressful when you do a change. You have to remember where everything is. So no more rebuilding queries or losing context, providing deep links to the right tools, zoomed in on a specific instance can do wonders. In fact, when you standardize, so every instance runs, say, on a common framework or platform, the platform can even provide some of these dashboards or some of these links if they're in a predictable format for everyone, which then means we don't all have to spend time creating those. A standard platform in use at Google provided a dashboard that became the mental scaffold for the on-caller or developer to think about their services. It's easier to transfer on-call and production work between teams. The context and mental model of interacting with Google production then remained the same even on different services. Okay, so we're coming to an end here. We've looked at dashboards and diagrams that bring clarity. I've told you how much I love them and want to share them with everybody so that we can all be a little less confused, because when we're less confused, we're going to have fewer errors and make better changes to our system. Bird's eye views, nested multi-level navigation, service overview with time series and drill downs and filters, sequence diagram, a critical request flow, quick links, status widgets page. These work by making our everyday interactions easier. More simple tasks and clear to form and execute our goals and inspect if they had expected or unexpected results. Helps us revise what we do next. complex systems do not have to be confusing. I think this is the main thing I want to leave you with. We have a lot of complexity in our systems, and we should strive for clarity and making ourselves more comfortable interacting with them. This talk has included lessons I've learned across many teams. I'm thinking of many of my colleagues who've showed me or provided dashboards like these and worked on platforms and tools that provide this. I'm excited to see how these continue to evolve. And I'm looking forward to talking to you all in the office hours. I think that's what I have. So thank you.